Welcome to Grade 11 English Language Arts. This is Week 1, Session 1, the Professional Close Reading Routine. Strong analysis does not begin with a clever guess about theme. A professional reader starts with what the text actually does, then builds meaning from precise details. In this lesson, you will learn a repeatable process that keeps observation, interpretation, and evaluation in the right order. By the end, you will turn one small detail into a defensible analytical claim. The routine has 3 passes. On Pass 1, read for the literal situation: who is present, what happens, where and when it happens, and what remains unknown. On Pass 2, mark patterns and shifts, repeated words, contrasts, unusual images, withheld information, or a sentence that suddenly changes pace. On Pass 3, ask what those choices make the reader notice, expect, or believe. That order matters. It protects you from unsupported opinions because every interpretation has to grow from something visible in the language. Observation first, interpretation second, evaluation last. Use the code NSQ to keep your annotations purposeful. N means notable choice, a word, image, contrast, or detail that deserves attention. S marks a shift, a change in action, tone, viewpoint, time, or sentence rhythm. Q records a genuine question, especially where the writer withholds an answer. Notice what this code does not ask you to write: a theme after every line. An annotation is evidence of attention, not a race to sound profound. Mark selectively, group related details, and let a pattern form before you decide what it may mean. Read this original mentor text with me. At 6:10 each morning, the station lights clicked off one row at a time, although dawn had not yet reached the tracks. Mara always arrived before the bakery trucks. She placed a paper cup beside the empty bench, checked the clock, and opened a book without turning a page. Commuters learned to step around the cup. On Friday, a gust rolled it beneath the rails. Mara watched it disappear, closed the book, and boarded the first train. Hold the literal sequence in your mind before assigning a motive. Pass 1 asks only, what can I prove is on the page? Here are 5 literal observations. Mara arrives at the same early time. She places a paper cup beside an empty bench. She checks the clock. She opens a book, but turns no page. Commuters step around the cup. Notice that none of those observations uses an emotion word. We have not called Mara sad, lonely, or grieving. We also keep uncertainty visible. The text does not identify whom the cup is for, why the bench matters, or what Mara has been waiting to happen. Literal accuracy gives interpretation a secure floor. Now, group the details, instead of treating each one as isolated. The repeated early arrival, the cup beside the empty bench, the clock check, and the unread book all suggest that Mara's purpose is not ordinary travel or reading. These actions form a repeated ritual. The commuters have even learned to step around the cup, so the ritual has lasted long enough to become part of the station's routine. The clearest shift begins with, on Friday. A gust carries the cup away. Mara closes the book and boards the first train. Before the shift, she repeats and waits. After it, she stops and leaves. Structurally, the story moves from waiting to action. Use this chain: detail, pattern, possible meaning, significance. The detail is the empty bench beside the untouched cup. The pattern is repeated waiting joined to an unread book and clock checking. A possible meaning is that Mara is maintaining a ritual connected to an absence. The significance arrives in the final shift. When the cup disappears, she finally boards a train. A defensible claim is, Mara's repeated ritual shows that the station is connected to an absence she has not accepted. The loss of the cup prompts a shift from waiting toward action. Notice what the claim refuses to invent. It does not name the absent person or declare exactly what happened. It stays precise enough to be supported and cautious enough to be honest. Consider this weak response. Mara is sad because someone died. The problem is not that it is impossible. The problem is that the text never proves the emotion, the death, or even the identity of the missing person. Here is the stronger version. Mara's silent routine conveys unresolved loss or separation. The empty bench and untouched book show that her purpose is not travel or reading. The revision earns its strength in 3 ways. It uses cautious language, it cites 2 precise details, and it explains how those details work together. Strong analysis does not sound certain about everything. It sounds exact about what the evidence can actually support. Quick check. Which comes first in close reading, observation or interpretation? Pause for a moment and answer aloud. Observation comes first. If you interpret before you observe, your claim may become a story you invented rather than a meaning the text supports. Your independent challenge is to list 5 literal observations without using sad, lonely, or grieving. Mark the clearest shift, and write 1 alternate interpretation with its strongest supporting detail. Then finish this exit sentence. The most important detail is blank because blank. However, the text leaves blank uncertain. That final however is valuable. It makes room for the ambiguity a careful reader should preserve. Here is your professional reading habit. 3 passes. Literal situation, patterns and shifts, then meaning and significance. 1 annotation code, N for notable, S for shift, Q for question. 1 reasoning chain, detail, pattern, possible meaning, significance. And 1 standard for every claim, precise evidence, clear reasoning, and honest uncertainty. Your job is not to guess faster. It is to notice more carefully and explain more defensibly. Complete the practice on Bridge to Exam, save your exit ticket as your Term 1 baseline, and I will see you in Session 2.